At first glance, Eva Robinson seems like your average 16-year-old.
No, you're not even tired.
One that has a passion for her pups.
I get up in the morning, I have some breakfast, I do some school, I go outside, I feed my dogs. And then once I fed my dogs, I come back inside, finish the rest of my school.
In the fall, cross country is added to her routine, where she's one of the top runners for Pembina County North. Although she'll be the first to tell you that her mind can sometimes race faster than she does.
It's just like, oh, tree, oh, rock, ooh, this, ooh, that, what's this? I wonder if I have this later. What's this called again? Who's that character? Yeah.
Well done, girls.
Just bouncing off the walls and then running just enhances that.
When schoolwork and practice are finished, it's back to her dogs. Not just a few dogs either. It's a whole pack. It looks like a lot, but you need that much to mush. A passion deeply rooted in the Robinson family.
We've always watched the Iditarod. We have watch parties, we have fantasy teams.
And she came to us, said, Mom, I really want to run the Junior Iditarod. I'm like, okay, well that's sweet, honey, that's great. You know, thinking kids when they're 5, you know, tomorrow they want to be a superhero, then they want to be a doctor, she wants to be a ballerina, you know, you're like, okay, whatever. But it kept coming back because of course we're spending all this time with these dogs outside. And so we said, okay, Eva, she's probably 6 now, you know, in 1st grade. Okay, Eva, that's great, but like you can't run the Junior Iditarod with these big fluffy Malamute dogs that we have. You have to get like the race dogs. Those are smaller Alaskan Huskies. And I'm like, it's gonna take, you know, a lot of money and time to be able to do that. So she comes back to me the next day with this business plan. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, this is how I'm going to raise my money to get my sled dog so I can run the Junior Iditarod. I'm gonna make dog treats, and this is what I'm going to do.
With a dogged determination, Eva Diva's puppy snacks took off, and it wasn't long before profits turned into pups.
Everyone buys them because she's 8 and it's cute, right? You know, like, oh yeah, I'll buy your little dog treats. And she raised up enough money to then buy her first Alaskan Husky.
Growing her pack was the first leg of the journey. The next was training her team in order to reach her dream.
Ready?
A complete family effort.
My mom, she starts getting all the harnesses ready. My dad gets the sleds ready. I bring the dogs out. The whole dog yard goes nuts. You can hear it miles away.
Eva and her team have spent several years on the trails near their home in Pembina County, participating in various dog sledding events in Minnesota. But Alaska and the Junior Iditarod was always the goal, and after raising enough money, she began New Year's Day 2022 with her toughest cross-country race yet, hauling her furry family 2,800 miles alongside her dad Justin to deliver on her dream.
Everything was going smoothly, and then we got to, I think it was Regina, Canada. It was just, there was something wrong with the serpentine belt, I think, and so we had to get a replacement. We went a little further and weather stopped us, and we went a little further and the temperature stopped us.
A motto that Eva has embraced is North Dakota doesn't quit. So despite truck breakdowns and brutally cold temperatures, the crew arrived in Alaska after 7 days of travel. Several weeks of training followed before race day arrived on February 26th. And although there were nerves upon finding out she'd be the first musher to start, her perspective quickly changed as she approached the starting line.
All the fear just washed out of me. I was just like, I waited 10 years for this, I was born ready. And we had an amazing first day. The sun was shining, the trail was hard, it was fast. I thought like, oh, hey, maybe I could win this, you know? I was thinking that, I was like, maybe I could win this Junior Iditarod. It'd be like a Disney moment or whatever. And then the second day was just my slice of humble pie, man. I spent from sunrise to sunset, literally 10 hours on that trail. Because none of my dogs really wanted to lead except for Frost.
A struggle that sheds light on what truly makes this sport a daunting challenge.
There are so many people who do not fully comprehend it, and I get it because they're not in it, like how hard it is. You're constantly training, but the problem is that your teammates can't talk to you. If they have a sore wrist, like they can't come up to you and say, you know, I chipped my fingernail and it hurts. Like I don't really want to run on that foot. It's not my shoulder, it's not my wrist, it's not this, it's actually my toenail. They can't tell you that. And so you spend a lot of your time understanding the dogs
And that's why it was no surprise that when Eva was challenged during the biggest race of her life, it was her battle-tested bond with her dogs that ultimately guided her.
I just stood there and I started crying. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna have to scratch. And then this little voice in my head was like, what if another musher comes around and you're just sitting here crying? And so I was like, okay, pull yourself together, man. And it was like this beam of light shown onto frost. And I was just like, wait, single lead.
Gaining her determination from her dogs, Eva and her divas made their way toward the finish line.
Part of me wanted to stay on that trail. Part of me did not want to cross the finish line. Part of me was like, no, I'm not ready to be done with this yet. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. We got closer and closer and closer, and then we crossed that finish line, and I sunk my snow hooks in. I ran up. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I thanked Frost because I could not have done that without her. I could not have finished that race without her. I would have had to scratch. I came back and I hugged my mom, and it was just like, no, we did it.
And it's funny because in Alaska, the kids up there, like, it's just another race, you know? So like when she crossed the finish line and I was crying and Eva was crying, my mom was crying, I think Justin was crying, and they're like, why are you guys crying? Like, did you think she wasn't gonna finish? Like, what's going on? And we're like, no, she has worked 10 years to get here and she just did it. That's inspiring.
Eva continues to train and participate in races closer to home. She hopes to continue this passion as long as she can, and it's not hard to figure out why.
Being on the trail, it's beautiful. When there's just a thin layer of snow and you can't hear the sled at all, it's just a little right across, and you hear the dogs breathing and trotting. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful moment. Everything's calm, everything's clear, everything's quiet.
There's an interesting North Dakota angle to Eva's success. When Eva was young and watching the Iditarod, she cheered for a man named Kelly Maxner because he wore her favorite color, green. Little did she know at the time, but Kelly is originally from Beach, North Dakota, and moved to Alaska in 2007. They've formed a great friendship over the years, and back in 2015, when Eva had saved up enough money, her first Alaskan Husky was purchased from Maxner, and since then she's gotten a number of dogs from him. It's blossomed into an incredible friendship and mentorship between Kelly and Eva.
This has been Midco Sports Magazine, presented by Build Your Base with Beef Sports Nutrition and Training Program.